have a dream, and I'm hoping that you have a dream. Why am I talking about having a dream? That is the iconic speech Martin Luther King Jr. gave 60 years ago, and of course we all know that it was a pivotal moment in America's civil rights movement. But away from America, a Ugandan man, had a dream, and yesterday that dream came true. Victor Chiplangati is the new world marathon men's champion. Yes, he won. He is right now the fastest man alive and brought more gold to Uganda. So good morning, Uganda. I'm hoping that your morning is starting on a high note like mine. I'm hoping that you are having a wonderful morning. Thank you so much for being a part of this program. The program is Good Morning Uganda on UBC television. We do this every morning from 6:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. and I'm usually joined, as I am joined this morning, by Chantal Olive Akandinda, Jerome Paul Sonko and Chirabo Robert Nyonyitono. He's back with his cup of coffee. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, and of course our viewers. Welcome back, guys, from the weekend, and of course it's all joy. I must say our team, the runners, are doing us a very good thing. Gone are the days when we just talk about John Akibua. You know, some of us grew up when it's only John Akibua. Today we've had a number of these people. The only question, I think it was apart from Nakai, these people seem to be coming from one region. When you look at the rights from Dokasi, Zikuru, now Chiptegai, Chiprang, and all of them, they seem to be coming from the Sebei, apart from, I think, Dokas. That particular part of the country. And I was asking myself, what is unique? Is it because these people have the passion? Is it because, you know, is there a connection with mountain or hilly areas and people who come from those areas and their ability to run? Well, that Ruben, the sportsman, will have to tell us more, because I'm wondering.
Before Ruben actually tells us more, I can answer that. You see, you people from Central Region and people from Western Uganda. Now, check. It is 6:33 a.m. You're already having a cup of milk. A boy from that part of the country, this early morning is probably running to school. For you, you drove here. You get the point. So I understand why it's the circumstances under which these people grow that makes them even stronger. And of course, when they go to the field, my goodness.
And also, Ruben will help me understand, is there a connection with height and running? Because I was watching, I thought in the marathon, the short people can also have an opportunity. Because marathon is not about being fast, isn't it? It's about your pace and ability to run. So I'm like, do short people have compressed lungs? Do they have short? I don't know, because all these things are being taken by tall people from one particular region.
I didn't see you moving this into the tall people arena, but since we have a tall person on this team, Chantal, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I cannot really tag someone's ability to run so fast to height because a number of factors determine how fast you can run. So I wouldn't really tag it to height. However, we also do know that where I take one stride, someone is likely to take two strides. So just saying.
Show off. Well, Chantal, a beautiful morning to you.
Good morning, Olive. How was your weekend?
Oh, I had a lovely weekend.
Well, you walked in looking lovely, so definitely it was a lovely weekend.
Because I have a dream, and the dream I had when I woke up this morning was to make sure that our viewers are entertained, educated, and inspired by my happiness, and of course that much information that we are going to share with them this morning. And of course, speaking of information, Chantal, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, this morning I landed on a story, and a very interesting story. You know, Uganda still grapples with corruption, and according to the speaker, there's going to be a crackdown on corruption at Parliament. And apparently parliamentarians are corrupt. They are extorting money from people and also doing their absolute best to hide cases of graft and corruption. And she's not amused. And she has told the different chief whips and told them, tell your people, no, this is not going to work like this. And if our lawmakers are corrupt,
Honestly.
we have a problem.
Yeah, a very big, problem. So I like where the speaker is going with this, and I'm
Yes.
hoping that these will not just be words, you know, that something will be done, because honestly, if Parliament is corrupt, then what is the rest of Uganda supposed to do?
Exactly.
Well, Joram Paul Sonko, good morning.
Good morning.
Is it a beautiful week?
Yes, it is. Why? You know, why does it look like the both of you are teasing me, trying to understand how my weekend
Because
was?
last week we understood properly how your weekend was.
I know.
Well, because the weekends are always about refreshing your mind and setting the pace for a fresh week, I pretty much decided that starting with the month of August, all my weekends should be weekends worth of memories for me as an individual, and setting the pace for a fresh week, because that gives me the energy to inspire Ugandans. It also gives me the energy to feel alive in our country. We do have lots of issues, so I shouldn't want different issues to continue biting me.
Okay.
So my weekend was okay. Though the only sad note it was, because I'm an Arsenal fan, we were the only top 6 team that couldn't win a game over the weekend.
Aren't you used?
So, well,
Wow.
that was harsh.
I'm sorry, what?
Until you.
But of course we were, you know, Arsenal has been trying to play some good football over the
it's
time.
more like how
but
you
the
can
results
have-
are not coming out. Really.
It's more like how you can have
I
a
thought-
cheating partner, and then after like 5 or 10 times of knowing they've been cheating, that
Yeah.
11th time, you're still crying that they're cheating, my friend.
You're used to the
You
cheating.
have to be used to it.
So what
if
you're
you've chosen
saying
to
is
stick
that
to them.
Can we
Sonko
leave
is
soccer
trying
for
to
Ruben?
be-
Can we leave soccer for Ruben? Otherwise, you're going to.
But anyway, my weekend was really fine.
Okay, I like that your weekend was fine. Obviously, you're trying to be vague about your loss, as in Arsenal. But even I, who doesn't follow football closely, I know that you guys, you've had quite a tough run for years. Not just a year, for years. So I don't know why you people don't give up. But maybe we need people like you not to give up, because
Olive.
life is not for giving
Olive,
up.
it is believed that if you have a man who is an Arsenal fan, he's a very loyal man.
Oh.
Yeah. Because after all the whooping and all the trouble they've been through, they still support Arsenal.
In
They're
as,
very
much
loyal.
in as much as I want loyalty for myself, I'm going to stay away from men who support Arsenal. Because I've also heard they make so much noise.
Now,
and I'm
ladies,
not about the noise.
ladies, the weekend was fine. Let Arsenal be, and we are very sure.
Chirava, are you an Arsenal supporter?
It does look like one.
Yeah, the pain,
Chiravo,
the
just
pain
say
in
it.
his speech.
Speak now or
Proudly-
forever hold your peace.
Proudly and confidently, I say it's my team. Since
I knew
senior
it.
5,
Let's-
I've supported
I
it,
think-
and I'll continue supporting
It's
it.
okay. we can-
But away from the Arsenal, this
I like-
charcoal ban is really biting. I was in Masaka over the weekend. Now there's this road that comes from Nabugabo Sand Beach. Now, people smuggle charcoal because it's illegal. They get a big truck, it parks somewhere. So they use border motorcycles
To ferry.
or to transport the charcoal to that hidden spot where the truck is. So when these borders have brought about a number of sacks, they load and they have some shortcuts they go to. Now, on that entire road, it's about maybe 4 kilometers. They know that if you see a motorcycle coming with charcoal, just give way. Because they ride at a terrific speed. Because I'm told if police gets you one, you're charged under the Forestry Act. The motorcycle, you can't recover it. The charcoal is also taken. So these men ride. I've never seen careless riders. As if there is no tomorrow, or when they hit something, none can survive. So I witnessed an accident. And when it happened, everyone was like, man, those charcoal guys. Bambi, they have to run for their life. I was like, but Ugandans, you see, this ban is to protect our environment. This is a person whom they would say he's done a grave mistake, but they're sympathizing and in pain, saying, Bambi, ate aja bakwata, police bakwata, ngalabye. It is your area that is going to get floods, that is going to have all these problems, but they help these charcoal dealers. They protect the charcoal dealers. They can even warn them. that, hey, please now stop, the forestry guys are there. But the speed at which they ride these motorcycles is so
alarming.
It's
so alarming,
worrying.
and something
I
has
know,
to
and we've actually been trying to have conversations on how we can actually curb the road accidents in the country, and I think that is something we really need to.
And they
to
call
put
it
down,
Ganom,
really.
and they say we are smuggling. Ganomagendo, we are smuggling. If they get us, we are gone.
Well, we will have more on that story actually in our newsreel, so please stay tuned because we are going to discuss how the ban on charcoal is affecting Ugandans and of course the economy at large, and we would like for you to share your opinions on our WhatsApp, and of course the X app, and the hashtag will be UBCGMU. But for now, let's jump into the local stories and later on the international ones.
Well, I'll begin with another record added on to Uganda when Uganda's Victor Kiplangat, who is now the new world marathon men's champion, the 23-year-old gallantly protected his lead to win his country's second ever world marathon title in 2 hours, 8 minutes, 53 seconds at the 2023 World Athletes Championship. Exactly 10 years after Kiplangat, Stephen Kiprotich won the title in Moscow 2023.
Wow, that gave me goosebumps. But moving on, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, has directed National Agriculture Advisory Services to immediately address challenges facing tea farmers in Kanungo district. This follows a public outcry of fraud and underpayment of tea farmers to their disadvantage. This was during the 9th graduation ceremony of Great Lakes Regional University in Kanungo district, where she also challenged graduates to embrace simple lifestyles in the current competitive job market.
Moving on, Centenary Rural Development Bank and Rotary Club Uganda flagged off the 12th edition of the annual Cancer Run Marathon at Kololo Independence Grounds. This year's run attracted thousands of Ugandans in over 40 locations all over Uganda and in key cities around the world. The run was held under the theme Run for Hope and aimed at raising 2 billion shillings meant for the construction of 2 bunkers that will house 2 Lanac cancer testing and treatment machines at St. Francis Hospital, Zambia.
And moving on, the Executive Director of the National Children's Authority, Martin Kiza, has strongly denounced parents who neglect their responsibilities within the household, leading their children to flee from home and ultimately resorting to life on the streets for survival. Kiza also highlighted the various risks and hazards faced by these vulnerable street children in their day-to-day lives.
Crossing over to the international scene, we start off with Russia now. Wagner chief, that is Prigozhin, has been confirmed dead after genetic analysis of bodies found in Wednesday's plane crash, and this is according to Russian officials. The investigative committee, SK, said the identities of all 10 victims had been established and corresponded to those on the flight's passenger list. Prigozhin's private jet came down northwest of Moscow on the 23rd of August, killing all those on board. The Kremlin has denied speculation it was to blame for the crash. The SK said it was continuing a criminal investigation. Molecular genetic testing has been completed, and this was according to a statement made. And according to the results, the identities of all 10 deceased have been established and they correspond to the list published in the flight manifest. Crossing over to France, students will be banned from wearing a abaya, and that is a loose-fitting full-length robe worn by Muslim women in France's state-run schools, and this is according to the education minister. The rule will be applied as soon as the new school year starts on 4th September. France has a strict ban on religious signs in state schools and government buildings, arguing that they violate secular laws. Wearing a headscarf has been banned since 2004 in state-run schools. When you walk into a classroom, you shouldn't be able to identify the pupil's religion just by looking at them. And this is according to the Education Minister, Gabriel Attal, while speaking to a news agency. I have decided that the abaya could no longer be worn in schools. The move comes after months of debate over the wearing of abayas in French schools. Crossing over to Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has been elected to a second term with 52.6% of the vote. The Electoral Commission announced it, but the opposition also claimed to have won, saying there was widespread vote rigging and some observers said the vote fell short of democratic standards. Mr. Mnangagwa is only Zimbabwe's third president. A 2017 coup against veteran ruler Robert Mugabe put him in charge. Zimbabweans still face high inflation, poverty and a climate of fear. When he first became president, Mr. Mnangagwa, known as the crocodile for his ruthlessness, promised a new start for his country's people. And speaking matters climate, according to the study, the climate on the Tibetan Plateau is changing. It's getting warmer and wetter. The Tibetan Plateau, located at the crossroads between South, Central and East Asia, is often referred to as the Earth's third pole because of its effect on how the air moves and the overall climate of the region. A new review by a team of Chinese scientists looks at what is known about how the TP influences the climate and points out where future studies should focus on to learn more. The research was published in the peer-reviewed journal Reviews of Geophysics and evaluated by a science writer from EOS, the news magazine published by the American Geophysical Union. That's it for the climate news and also international news.
Well, thank you so much, Chantal, and thank you so much. If you have just joined us, we have just taken a look at the local and international stories, and right about now we will be jumping into the local dailies, that is the New Vision and the Daily Monitor.
And with our local dailies, with me I have a copy of the New Vision and Daily Monitor. The New Vision highlights Kiplangat winning Uganda's second gold. Victor Kiplangat celebrates after winning the men's marathon during the World Athletics. There's a full detailed story about that victory of Kiplangat with the New Vision today. Furthermore, President Museveni celebrates 50th marriage anniversary. Still a pictorial of the President and the First Lady at the front pages of the New Vision. Then IGG warns over digital number plates. She says, I halted car plates deal. And of course, you can get more of that with the New Vision this morning. Then furthermore is that 1.56 billion Ugandan shillings has been raised for cancer fight. There's a report of that with the New Vision. As in the new curriculum, Senior 2 Physics, Senior 2 Chemistry and Senior 3 Math. More of that in the New Vision. As court okays use of synonyms in divorce cases. That is more of what the New Vision is having for you. As also in the health perspective, the fear of undergoing endoscopy. There is more of that with the New Vision, as how staff forged documents to grab university. There is also one of those big reports with the New Vision today. Now, elsewhere with the Daily Monitor, still with our local dailies from the Ugandan perspective, Mao got dirty cash for polls. This is according to the Democratic Party bosses. The Ugandan political space continues to be pretty much interesting. Now there is also joy as West Ruwenzori gets first bishop. Which bishop is that? You will definitely get more of the details regarding Bishop Tibaijuka being installed as the new bishop of West Ruwenzori region. Now, President Museveni and Mama Janet mark 50 years in marriage. More of that with the Daily Monitor this morning. And then also Kiplangat strikes Uganda's second gold at the Global Meet. He did this particular one so well yesterday in the marathon. Now in the health living, why a health worker must insert a cannula. There is a big detailed report of that with the Daily Monitor. Now, kidney disease burden, prevention and treatment. There's a report on that with the Daily Monitor today as the FDC saga, Amori at 6 meeting with Biringwa. You can get more of that with the Daily Monitor today. As in the others, AIDS cash hangs in the balance. The Daily Monitor has a full detail of its front pages for you to get more of the different stories. As in the other stories, children of absentee parents more prone to drug abuse, according to the experts.
Wow, that's quite a downer, the story about children of absentee parents. And of course, for you and I that are parents, we really need to be present, especially now that children are in their holidays. Now, I understand that the times are hard. We need to work. Some people have more than one job. And of course, the times you get home, children are sleeping, or it's really late and you're tired, you don't have time to engage with them. But still, we decided to make this bed, we should lie in it, and we should find ways of making sure that our children do not miss us. Right, Chirabo?
Definitely. It's all about finding quality time for family and looking at how you know, life is all about priorities.
True.
You know, and how do you balance your time? We all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it's why do some people succeed in other areas and others fail? One of them is time management, and the other is wrong priorities.
No, they may not be wrong anyway, but lack of, you know, understanding.
What do you prioritize over the other?
Over the other,
Yes.
Because everyone has good priorities. It
that's
may
what
be
makes
a
the
wrong
difference.
one to you,
So
but
you
I
are
think they
saying-
may
No,
not be wrong
now
to
in
them.
this context, Sonko, now when we are talking about parenting,
Yes.
many parents that may lose their children is because their priority
May not be the
children and family. That's why many men will tell you, I've given the money, you know, I've left
I've
money
taken
for
them to good
food,
schools.
I've paid school fees in time, what else do you require of me? You know?
There was
So, and you may find that that person in the evening is chilling with friends, even in classes, and and the priority for him is the evening classes and not
Over
the
the
children.
children.
I love the way you call them evening classes. If someone
Well,
is
think
out there,
about
they
it like
may
this.
actually think it's a lecture room or something.
You know?
But it's the it's the men's chibozi that normally
think
happens.
about
No,
Think
they
about it
discuss
like this.
issues of national importance.
Think about it like
Because
this.
they will talk football, they will talk politics,
Yes,
they will
Chantal?
talk a bit of...
If you think about it like this, in a way, you wouldn't want to blame them, because if someone has had a long day, sometimes all they need is a moment to cool it off, because sometimes you go back home, the kids are crying, someone is calling you from left,
You've
right,
had
and
a long
center.
day.
You've had a long day. Meanwhile, you are fending for this family.
Yes.
So we can try and explore some of those things. Maybe talking about striking a balance between how we go for those evening classes and the time we give. And if you should give the time, it could be quality time. People who will go back home, they won't go for the evening classes, but they'll be in their bedrooms. They won't be with the kids. So
Still, yeah.
we could have that discussion. over and over
Okay,
again.
I feel attacked, but that's a story for another day. We will be taking a short break. We'll leave you with the inspiration song of the day. And when we come back, we will look into the charcoal ban and its effect on the Ugandan economy and, of course, households. We'd like for you to join that conversation when we come back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
That's fine. Hey.
I have a dream, and I'm hoping that you have a dream. Why am I talking about having a dream? That is the iconic speech Martin Luther King Jr. gave 60 years ago. And of course, we all know that it was a pivotal moment in America's civil rights movement. But away from America, a Ugandan man, had a dream, and yesterday that dream came true. Victor Chiplangati is the new world marathon men's champion. Yes, he won. He is right now the fastest man alive and brought more gold to Uganda. So good morning, Uganda. I'm hoping that your morning is starting on a high note like mine. I'm hoping that you are having a wonderful morning. Thank you so much for being a part of this program. The program is Good Morning Uganda on UBC television. We do this every morning from 6:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. And I'm usually joined, as I am joined this morning, by Chantal Olive Akandinda, Jerome Paul Sonko, and Chirabo Robert Nyonyitono. He's back with his cup of coffee. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, and of course our viewers. Welcome back, guys, from the weekend. And of course, it's all joy. I must say our team, the runners, are doing us a very good thing. Gone are the days when we just talk about John Akibua. You know, some of us grew up when it's only John Akibua. Today, we've had a number of these people. The only question, I think it was apart from Nakai. These people seem to be coming from one region. When you look at the rights from Dokasi, Zikuru, now Chiptegai, Chiprang, and all of them, they seem to be coming from the Sebei, apart from, I think, Dokasi.
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Granny.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to Windy to see the gorillas.
Then we watched the cup final in London.
Oh.
On Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt some dragons again. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space. And you? Yes, seriously, Granny.
With Airtel 5G's lightning-fast speeds and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, Uganda. Welcome back to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, joined by Joram Paul Sonko and Chantal Olive Akandinda. Now, this morning, we would like to delve into an issue that happened sometime this year, where the president signed an executive order banning the burning of charcoal. Yes, in May this year, President Museveni signed an executive order banning tree cutting for commercial charcoal production in northern Uganda. And of course, this led to an increase in the impounding of trucks carrying bags of charcoal in northern Uganda, especially because at the time there was a lot of stories that were making it to the newspapers and of course on social media, where many Ugandans from northern Uganda and some former leaders were saying that many people from other regions in the country were going to northern Uganda to get charcoal. So this was leading to the destruction of the environment in that area of the country, and the president decided that there had to be a stop to that. Now, over the weekend, the Chief Justice Alphonse Owini Doro said that local leaders need to take action against dealers in the charcoal trade, that is local leaders in Acholi sub-region, because this is where the burning of charcoal and the charcoal business has been booming the most. Now, this morning, as we know, Ugandans, majority of Ugandans, especially the urban poor, use charcoal for cooking different meals, whether slow cooking or any other meal. And this ban on the charcoal business is affecting them. So I'd like to go back to my colleagues. And first of all, I would like us to delve into why this ban had to be instituted, not only in northern Uganda, but across the country.
The first reason you would look at is the fact that the areas in which the charcoal ban, the areas that produce more charcoal are areas where you will find that the people who are into charcoal production are actually not residents in those areas. For example, in northern Uganda, the leading producers of charcoal are not residents of northern Uganda. So people actually leave different parts of the country and go to northern Uganda. Please do note that most parts of northern Uganda, land is communally owned. And it's very easy for me to get to the chief of that place, pay them some money, and I clear the forest. By the time these people get to realize that their forest that they've been putting a lot of energy is gone, it's a bit late and I've already finished doing my work. So this in the first place was seen as unfair, but also the fact that this is an area that is, some bits of these areas are semi-arid. And if we see continuous cutting down of these forests, we are headed for what you would call a desert or even semi-desert. And this is ideally what was trying to be fought. The unfortunate bit is it's been hard to fight it. But that is the primary background on which this ban was put in place. The area is still struggling with climate issues, and the most that can happen, or the least that could happen, is protecting what would help to conserve the environment in these areas.
Now, according to the Chief Justice, the current climate change law that Uganda has, Section 26, Clause 1 of the National Climate Change Act 2021, states that a person may apply to the High Court for relief against the government, an individual or a private entity whose action or omission threatens or is likely to threaten efforts towards adaptation or mitigation of climate change. And he continues to say that it may deem appropriate the High Court to make orders to prevent, stop or discontinue the act of omission that is subject of the application. Now, what he was trying to say, he says that people like Gisos and Disos have a right to actually go to the forest and arrest these people that are cutting trees instead of arresting them from the road. According to the Chief Justice, if you say that you're going to arrest people from the road, let's say truck drivers, you are already making this, for lack of a better word, evil continue. Yes. Because where were you when they were cutting and even burning the charcoal before it was packaged into sacks to be delivered to other areas of the country? Now, that being said, We know, like I said, that most of the urban poor use charcoal for cooking. And in Uganda, a country of over 45 million people, we know that majority prefer using, it's not even prefer, they can only afford using charcoal to prepare meals. So how are they being affected by this ban?
Well, they are because of the affordability. When you look at, for example, the people who are using cooking gas in Uganda, looking at the various sources of renewable, energy that we are pushing for, you get to realize that the uptake of the people who are actually using cooking gas are very few in the country because of its pricing. So the reason as to why we have continuous charcoal burning in the country is its affordability. Because there is even ready market for it. However much the government tries to put an end, there are always people who are trying to, let's say, let me just use the word smuggle it into various spaces, whereby regardless of the fact you will still find, not only from northern Uganda, by the way, we have quite a number of regions, even in western Uganda, where charcoal burning is a serious trade, and people are earning some good money off of it, and most especially because it comes at a cheap, because you will actually find that a sack of let's say a sack of charcoal may not go beyond 100,000 if you're getting it from wherever it is. So the only cost that you may incur is transportation. And if you're buying in bulk, most of the people who actually go in there or who go up country, for example, those who go once in a while to visit relatives and family, when you go up country to buy in bulk, a couple of times you get to realize that most of them decide to go and get this in huge numbers, or get these sacks, bring them to Kampala, sell at a higher fee. So the level of affordability for charcoal trade in Uganda is making even the ban pretty much more hard to put an end to it.
You see, when you know how we look at look at the sort of classes of people that we have in Uganda, even the middle class or middle income earners, if we put it like that, these particular individuals use the two concurrently. They are going to use gas and charcoal concurrently, and you're not going to have to think about it from this angle. If that person cannot afford to use gas alone, how do you expect this person deep down in the village to use
Actually, charcoal,
more comfortable using firewood.
Yeah.
And it's again the same kind of situation of cutting down trees.
In the villages, many Ugandans are not even using charcoal, they are using firewood. And the beauty about firewood, I told you guys last week that I was once in a village and I used to collect firewood. And the beauty about firewood is that you don't need to cut down a tree. You see, as trees grow, some branches are going to fall off. So when you go to the forest to collect firewood, you're just going to pick those.
The dry ones,
the dry ones, yes. So though for those who are in commercial firewood selling, I don't know if it is the same story.
Especially schools.
It is. What happens
because
is
schools use firewood.
Yeah, they buy firewood. So what happens is someone has a forest. I could use an example of my village. So what happens is someone literally hires people. They cut down this forest and split the firewood. Even when you go to these places and see how they've arranged the firewood, it's very, very organized. And then that's when it's dry. That's when the schools, the trucks come and buy from these individuals to take to the schools.
And when we talk about trees being cut, do we also factor in trees that have been planted or forests that have been planted by private individuals, or the main focus is on national forests?
We are talking about both because now the private ones, honestly, you may not even have as much control. You don't know why I planted my forest in the first place. I planted it to make some money. People right now are into tree planting because they are looking at what amount is going to come out of it after a period of time, 2 years, 3 years, but they have that in mind. So you're going to be looking at both private and the national. Of course, the nationals should be protected, and I'm hoping that we have less of those activities on the national forests.
But now this ban on tree cutting, there is an article I was reading a couple of days ago, and it was intimating that even those that have private trees are not allowed to cut and export timber outside the country. But of course today it's mainly about charcoal, but a little bit into that.
Surprisingly though, when these people set up these forests, what we call the artificial plantations or artificial forests, that is their main aim.
Yes.
I doubt if someone will just put, let's say,
let me conserve the environment and plant a whole forest.
This is where even the discussions of climate change continue to come through, because I think with the charcoal ban or charcoal making ban, it is to target and to take a very huge step on climate change, because at times most of the people who cut down these trees to burn the charcoal, I think we've all seen some of the key gaps in Mabira forest. If you happen to move to eastern Uganda, you will actually see either someone has already settled deep, and you can actually notice it from the road, which shows you how much Ugandans are so poor when it comes to what we call reforestation. When they cut down trees, very few have that in mind, that I can still replant. Yet they will still want to have more from that business in the next 10 years. Now remember, most of these particular forests are natural, and it takes years for these trees to get back. So unless you do it immediately after cutting, of which we do not support because we are conserving the environment, but you get to realize that the only issue about charcoal burning is the fact that the business does seem to be very lucrative for all of those involved, and at times government tries to to put up the penalties, tries to end it, but you come to realize, like you've mentioned, we have people here in Kampala who use gas and charcoal, and I'm one of those. Now besides that, we all believe there are quite a number of Ugandans, even the policymakers, who do the same at their homes.
Haven't you seen government trucks, like you find a double cabin that has UG and it has sacks of charcoal?
Exactly. So it is, it's that kind of situation where you realize at times the more we try to say we are putting an end to something, it's more like we are doing we are inflicting on our own selves, because even the people who are supposed to push for it are also looking for cheaper charcoal. You get, because they also go up country, because they know they will get cheaper.
Okay, Chantal, you had something to say. But before that, I would like to invite the viewers to join this conversation. And this morning, we are asking you to share your opinions on the current charcoal ban and its effects on the welfare of Ugandans. And of course, you can join us through WhatsApp number 0709602592. And if you are on the X app, the hashtag is UBCGMU, and we are asking you to share your opinions on the current charcoal ban and its effects on the welfare of Ugandans. Chantal, you had something to share with us.
Yes, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization put out a report, and this particular report was showing that when it comes to the reliance on charcoal or firewood or wood fuel products, Africa is the highest, followed by Asia, and then and in most African cities, or some African cities, most of them, they entirely depend on charcoal. Whoa. This is according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, a report put forward. And still, when you further read this report, 25 to 35% of climate-changing greenhouse gas emissions come from the so-called biomass burning.
Wow. And of course, after the president signed the executive order in May banning the cutting of trees and of course charcoal burning, one would have thought that this practice has ended. But according to this report I'm looking at here, it says that charcoal production persists despite the presidential order, as well as an anti-climate change law empowering local authorities to regulate harmful activities. Now, according to this article, days after President Museveni's order, the charcoal burning enclave in a remote part of Gulu is still active. A small area of bamboo opens up to almost bare patch in which trees have been cut, juicy stumps still fresh here and there. And of course, it goes on and on to show that despite the directive from the president, the executive order, this business continues. And earlier on, when we had just started the show, our colleague Chirabo Robert noted that yesterday one of his friends got into an accident because someone rammed into them as they were carrying charcoal and driving very fast to try and avoid authorities, which is really sad. And concerning.
Have you let me just put this here as well. Have you ever heard of situations where people where police is fighting with fishermen? Most of the people also, the army. Most of the people who also you know, deal in smuggling of fish. Once they put it on a motorcycle, the speed at which they drive, at which they ride, even those who are actually driving, they can actually knock anyone down. And smuggling is a very big issue when it comes to such businesses that seem to have too much profits. You know, they are quite profitable, and the mere fact that their regulations are not are still shaky. Because we have very few government officials operating in upcountry areas, and this is where everything starts from. So once the officials track down, it takes months to track down. And of course, the other people are always noticed, are always notified that, you know what, maybe there is someone, you know, trying to do. You can't beat a smuggler at times. And in most cases, they don't even care about your life if they are to smuggle something. That is how dirty that business is.
And do you know that the sad bit is the indigenous person does not earn so much from this? 1 acre of land that has a good number of trees goes for only $150. That is in areas of Gulu, for example. But it could even go less if you go to the like distant parts of these regions. 1 acre, $150. And when you come to Kampala and you're buying a bag of charcoal right now, it's at about 100,000 Uganda shillings. When you find that bag of charcoal, say, in those districts, you're likely to get it at half price. Now, you realize that what you're saying, you realize that people are making abnormal profits at the cost of the lives of the locals. And still, according to this UN report, most of the people that carry out this kind of business are not indigenous people, so they don't even feel the remorse for the environment in those areas. All they're thinking about is, it's a business, we are getting money.
You know, there was also something last year. The Ministry of Energy had started distributing LPG, the liquefied petroleum gas cylinders to quite a number of homes. So according to the report, they distributed around 1 million locally manufactured 13 kilogram cylinders to a few homesteads here and there. The move was to ensure that Ugandans start adopting the use of
clean energy
and avoid using charcoal. But earlier this year, the campaign, or what I could call the drive, I wouldn't want to use the word collapse, but it did not meet, you know, what the government was intending to achieve. A few of those benefited because the drive started last year, July, and you know, the Ministry of Energy and you know, was giving out these gas cylinders to quite a number of homes who benefited. But at the start of the year, you get to realize that most of the Ugandans who had bought the idea of getting this, because at least government was giving them more like what you could call entandikwa. If you get a starting point, gas refilling may not be a difficult thing for you to do.
Right.
But now, since the government, you know, failed to achieve or failed to reach out to the others or to the majority, only to reach out to the minority, others just decided to settle back to, you know, at least to a sack of charcoal. For those who don't have a big family, they can actually use one sack for a full month.
But also, Sonko, think about it like this. Are you aware that if I told you that you're going to cook beans, the dry ones, the first thing you're going to think about is mfumbi dewa? You need a slow cooker, for example, and you need something that is not going to consume so much of your energy in terms of, you know, cooking energy. So what am I trying to say? Go back to the mindsets of the Ugandans and realize that there is a lot that has to be done in those areas. All they have known all their lives is charcoal and firewood. So for you to shift that person's mind, for them to understand that, hey, it's for the good of the environment, it's for the good of the place where you are staying, but also you have a bit of convenience, you're going to have to do a lot of convincing. Also, do they have the money to put in? You might afford 50,000 or 120,000 to refill your gas. Can that person deep down in Gulu afford to refill their gas?
Or even someone living here in Kampala, Katanga, Boise.
Thank you.
Some of those areas where the urban poor live. Because we know, like we have been saying since the show began, we know that there are many Ugandans, honestly, let's face it, many people who live in Kampala are not the people that you find in those suburbs. There are people you're going to find in a slum in Namuongo, in a slum in Waise, in Katanga.
In some parts of Bumato, even some parts of Bumato, yes.
Everywhere. You will even go to Muyenga and you will find a portion of that place being a slum, like sandwiched between a suburb and you get.
Yes.
So most of these people cannot afford gas. That's the honest truth. And of course, even the houses where they live, you'll find that these people live in one-bedroom houses, okay? And they stay there, they sleep there, and they cook there. We know that gas is quite dangerous if someone doesn't know how to properly use it. So it may be a nice alternative, but does it work for the majority of Ugandans?
Do they know how to use it? Are they aware of it?
Single self-contained.
Is it even self-contained?
No, that's
for you
actually.
Speaking like
That
a
is
privileged
broker.
person.
That is what the brokers tell us.
Those are studios.
No, that is what brokers tell us when we're looking for these
Chantal and
houses.
Sonko,
I'm being
when you
honest.
mention studios, this is what I hear. There is a kitchen, there is a bathroom, and a toilet. The houses I'm talking about are just one, like 4 corners. 4 walls.
It's a room.
Yes,
It's a room.
If you're talking to brokers, we've interacted with brokers. A broker tells you, Joram, I have a single self-contained house. And in the self-contained, he's saying there is a kitchen area, there's a space for you to put your bed, there's a bathroom and toilet in everything. That is the self-contained. You have all in one.
But those
however
are not
small
the
it can
houses
be.
in Namuongo.
Well, like you've mentioned, most of them can't buy the LPG or the gas cooker, or even those who have the time to buy it, refilling also becomes another.
So, because
concern.
even the middle class, the people that you would think will buy this gas and be refilling, there are people that have these cylinders and they're like, when the gas depleted in December, I have never refilled.
I've given you a live example.
Charcoal.
I've given you a live example. When you're cooking dry beans at home, do you cook them on the gas cylinder? Do you use your gas to cook them?
I do.
I can assure you. I can assure you. Very many people will tell you, no, I have to have an alternative. That is, first of all, it's going to be a slow one. And because even these foods cook slow, you gas. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I hear
so
you.
let's have alternatives.
Okay, now speaking of alternatives, we will delve deep into that. But for now, I would like to invite you to join this conversation. And today, we are asking you to share your opinions on the current charcoal ban and its effects on the welfare of Ugandans. You can join this conversation through WhatsApp number 0709602592. too. And again, we are asking you to share your opinion on the current charcoal ban and its effects on the welfare of Ugandans. The WhatsApp number is 0709602592, and those on the X app, the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, Chantal, you mentioned that we need alternatives, and we have agreed that the current alternative to the usage of charcoal is gas. But we have agreed that many Ugandans may not be in position to afford this LPG or gas as commonly known. Now, what other alternative do we have?
When we go back down to alternatives and where you started from, one, we would have to look at which places can afford what. In areas that are more developed, you realize that they can afford the gas, but maybe if the prices are manageable, because they know how to use them. Also, of course, we could visit alternatives like, before you cook your beans, the dry ones, soak them transnight. Maybe you'll have it easier when you're going to prepare them the following day. If people are aware of such things that can be done, it would help. When you go back down to the villages, there is something called briquettes.
Yes.
There is something called biogas that is generated from waste. And this could be cow dung, or it could be human waste. So let's visit those alternatives, and let maybe government put in place ways in which we can see these alternatives play out, and then we can go back down to if anyone is found, then they will have little or no excuse to give when it comes to why they are advocating for charcoal.
I need us to spread more of the gospel of briquettes because they are a good alternative to charcoal. First of all,
again,
where you need like 4 sigiris of charcoal to cook maybe peas or beans, you may need like 4 briquettes to cook these.
And these there are some energy saving stoves as well that they use with these briquettes.
Yes.
These, I personally have done research on that. They take longer to burn out. If what is it talking? You're going to have it on that stove for your good hours from like midday. So, and it gets ready very well, but people do not know these things. And also the access, I mean the accessibility to the briquettes, because we don't have very many people who are manufacturing them. So if that is preached and advocated for, it could see a reduction in the use of charcoal in these areas, and of course definitely it will lead to a reduction in how these forests are cut down. If someone is cutting down for charcoal, and then we have these alternatives, then you can go ahead and you can go ahead and punish them. But if someone tells you, I am into charcoal burning because I'm earning a living for my family, you may not blame them. And the other sad bit about charcoal burning is that, like I said, because it's not the indigenous people that do the cutting and burning.
They are not the end users.
Yes, they're not.
No, they are doing the cutting and burning, but for selling. They're not the end users.
But then the person in that area is earning peanuts. One, like I've told you, $150 for an acre of land that has a huge forest. That is one. Two, the person who is into the person who does the donkey work actually is earning very little from their region. And the profit is going to this particular individual who has no mercy on how the environment is being impacted as they are leaving the people in that area. You understand? So you look at someone who ideally should be benefiting from that forest. That person is getting petty money, peanuts from that forest, and you who has gone to that place, you're earning more from it. And at the end of the day, the livelihoods of these people are staying the same. Yet we are also looking at the angle of maybe economically it would be good because someone should be getting money from it, but the people who are getting the money from it are the wise ones who are coming from Kampala and know where the forests are. They know who to talk to, which language to use,
how to beat the system,
how to beat the systems. And this person who should, I would understand if someone in Gulu owns a forest and they are doing the charcoal burning themselves. I would partially understand. But if someone from Kampala knows the systems and everything, goes and burns charcoal and earns more, and all someone gets is $150 that can be spent in a few hours.
Wow, this is quite sad and of course concerning, because every single morning here on Good Morning Uganda we share stories regarding climate change and of course how it is affecting the environment. And these conversations are not just for the Mzungu or white man, because back in the day most of us didn't really care about this conversation, but we are being affected. You've already seen that some areas of the country are receiving more than normal rainfall, and of course the seasons have changed. Where you used to expect a dry season, now there is extreme rain, and when you need rain there is no rain. All of these activities that we are doing, like tree cutting, are affecting the environment in the long term, and of course it will be you and I, our children and their grandchildren, that are going to suffer and have to pay for the actions that we take today. Thank you so much for being a part of this show, and of course we are still asking you to join this conversation, and we are asking you to share your opinion on the current charcoal ban and its effects on the welfare of Ugandans. You can join us through WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. I have a few comments from social media, and the first one says, "Good morning, Olive, Chantal and Joram. For starters, I can credit the government for putting a ban on charcoal burning, because among the few things we pride in as a country is the nature of our country and the good climate. This earns us more revenue. So imagine if deforestation continues, then we are losing in the long run. However," and he put this in caps, "it should be a temporary ban, not a permanent one, because almost 85% of the locals use charcoal for cooking. So if it is banned, then people are to starve. Even if it's a source of income to both the burners and the sellers. So just imagine all those people left unemployed. I think let government sensitize the people to practice more reforestation." Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makindye, Luafu. Thank you so much, Derek. The next one says, "Good morning, UBC and the viewers tuning in this morning. About the charcoal ban, I really second the government, but the only question is, what's the other energy source that the government is looking at promoting to act as a substitute for charcoal? This should be in terms of availability and affordability." He continues to say, "I would talk of people using electricity, but this resource is very expensive in Uganda, despite the fact that Uganda produces thousands of watts." And he says the LPG, or what many people call gas, can't also be effective since most people are ignorant about it and the fares are also high, and its availability is only concentrated in urban towns. And about the law, its ineffectiveness will always be caused by law enforcers who take bribes from the businessmen in the charcoal trade system. Lastly, people have also started hating their country. Why should you stop people from exploiting resources? For example, burning charcoal that's readily and domestically consumed, and you still go on to sell these resources, that is forests, lakes, swamps, to investors that demolish them at the end of the day. Take an example of Budongo Forest in Chikube district that was partly sold for sugarcane growing. Anthony from Hoima. Thank you so much, Anthony. And I would like to remind our viewers that this number is only for text messages. Please only WhatsApp. Do not call, because we will not pick. The next contributor says, "You man, you don't know Four Corners house." I'm sorry, I think that person sent a message to a wrong number. Anyway, the next says, "Good morning, Uganda. Uganda, we are living in..." Oh, the single room. I'm so sorry. Anyway, the next message says, good morning, Uganda. Uganda we are living in now. The Uganda we are living in now is full of transactions where people do not think of transformation, including the government workers enforcing the directives. Instead, they use it as an opportunity to gain wealth at the expense of the poor because they bring enforcement without solution that favors the locals in the villages. That is, people intercepting charcoal burners and traders are the ones selling them expensively, which makes it to be a deal, not enforcement. That is Kabila from Mbale. And this one says, charcoal burning ban may not answer the question of environmental conservation if sugarcane growers are encroaching on the forests. This is Mosisi from Palisa. And moving on to Francis Oruru from Lira, he says, I suggest that the government sponsor by reducing the buying price to at least 50 or 60,000 shillings so that many people buy, and maybe that's the way people will start loving using gas. So he's suggesting that there is a subsidy on gas prices so that many Ugandans can be able to afford it. And this one says, hey, this ban only applies to the poor and making the rich filthy richer, plus those in big positions. So this person is alleging that people in big positions or the rich are the ones that are running the charcoal business. This one says, good morning, Uganda. I take this opportunity to thank our President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He was right to sign that executive order, but on the other side, it is going to affect us as we Ugandans. The only thing we could do to stop the non-Ugandans, let him think about us as a father. Thank you. God bless you. This is Peace from Mbale City. And this one says, good morning, presenters. Thanks for the program. Government would have put a temporary ban because a big population uses charcoal mostly than electricity. And electricity is expensive. Thank you, Natkunda Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine, for your thoughts. This one says, good morning, Vadia. This is Director of Naboa Islamic Nursery and Primary School, Mr. Kasim Menya in South Africa. He says, thank you for the program. My opinion is to reduce the price of gas because many people have no money and they're not working. And I will stop with this comment. I will end with this comment. He says, good morning, Uganda. I think the policy makers are detached from the population. Why? He explains. Ugandans are in a time where they can barely afford food. The environment cannot remove charcoal is not just a... So he says, removing charcoal is not just a matter of the environment. We have to consider Rolex makers on the street, the market women cooking for the urban population and the urban poor households. Nothing has been done to address these immediate concerns or to incentivize change. Much is still left to be desired. This is Dr. Leila in Entebbe. Thank you so much, Dr. Leila. And of course, Vincent from Kitugumu, you said the implementers also use charcoal, so let's pray to God for change. I appreciate your views, your contributions. Thank you so much for being a part of this program and sharing your comments. It matters to us that we hear from you, and thank you so much for always doing that. Now, in just a few seconds, I would like to know the parting shots from Chantal.
My parting shots would be, this is a very brilliant idea because we are looking at environmental conservation, and it should be on the core of our, it should be on the core of our being. But then again, you cannot ignore the fact that realistically speaking, we do have people that use firewood, and these are, charcoal, and these are the most in the country. So let's go back down to involving the stakeholders and having policies that are more realistic, and also making sure that we have alternatives that are going to provide the same solutions or even better solutions to the problems that lead to charcoal production in the country.
Thank you so much, Chantal. And Jerome Paul Sonko, what would be your parting shots?
Well, my parting shot would be looking at the prices. like one of the final commenters mentioned, the government should focus on working on the pricing of or the prices of this particular LPG or these particular gases, gas cookers rather, because the reason as why most people look for charcoal as an alternative or as their main use for, you know, cooking is because of the fact that it is cheaper and it's less costly and easy
to use.
Exactly.
But also, thank you so much for that parting shot. And personally, I think that there needs to be more sensitization and a mindset change regarding the usage of charcoal vis-a-vis gas. Because, like we have said, some people that are in the middle class and can even afford to use gas still use charcoal because in their mind, charcoal is more user-friendly and cheaper. But actually, when you look at it closely, you will find that gas is cheaper to use. You can buy a cylinder of gas. Okay, maybe I'm looking from the lenses of a smaller family. I see that Chantal is looking at me, but but still, I think that if we have mindset change and we teach people how to use this gas, and of course have subsidies on the prices, we can realize, we will find that gas is actually cheaper to use, and if it is made more affordable, then we will not have this discussion and we will not have to degrade our environment. Of course, it begs for the question, then where will the charcoal traders go? What business should they do? I believe there are many other industries and sectors where these people can apply their minds to and their resources, and still it will enrich them and the country. Thank you so much. This has been the newsreel for this morning, the 28th of August 2023. We are still here as Good Morning Uganda because the show runs from 6:30 in the morning to 9 a.m. So we still have sports coming for you. We still have agenda coming for you. Traffic updates are up next.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Granny.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to Windy to see the gorillas.
Then we watched the cup final in London.
Oh.
On Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt some dragons again. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space.
With Airtel 5G's lightning-fast speed and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the Paris development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in Achore area and Ajumani when we are implementing the Paris development model.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I
I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A beautiful morning to you. If you have just joined us, this is Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najama, here to give you this morning's traffic updates. So if you are moving from the areas of Mukwano Road and 8th and 6th Street, that is where we are going to pick it up from and see how you can maneuver and be able to access the heart of the Central Business District. Now, speaking of Mukwano Road, yes, around Nachivubo Channel, there is some bit of traffic buildup, and it looks like it's going to grow as the minutes run by. So if you are going to use that section of town, you stand advised. But if you move on up along to Lugogo Mall, you're going to find that there is a smooth flow of traffic up until the section that goes to Nakawa, which goes past Mob's Gate and of course the military hospital. There you're going to find a little bit of a traffic buildup as you move along. There is traffic construction around the Jubilee Business Center, that section of the road, so it explains the traffic buildup and hold up along that area. But now coming back to the main Jinja Road, yes, some sections have smooth flow of traffic, as you can see there, but when you move along, you're going to find traffic coming in from Ntinda Road, and of course if you're coming from Katalima Road, it doesn't look so bad, but when you join the main road around Total Energies Nakawa, then you will realize that yeah, there it is a bit stiff. The traffic holdup is intense because the red zones are becoming deeper and deeper, and the red zones usually signify traffic holdup, where it means that cars are not in position to move. And like I said, there is a construction going on along the road that joins Bugolobi and Luzira to Nakawa around Capital Shoppers. So around there, yes, there is no smooth flow of traffic. There is a hold up. I see that cars are held up there for quite some time. So in case you're moving from the areas of Bugolobi and areas of Mbuya, you may have to use the old Football Road to access the city, because if you use the Nakawa route, you're going to be held up there for quite some time. But now moving on, going to the areas of still Jinja Road around Chadondo Rugby Club. Yes, there is a smooth flow of traffic if you are going to the ends of Jinja, if you're heading to Chireka Banda. But if you're going to town, yes, you're going to be held up there because yes, there is a hold up over there. But now moving on, if you're going back to town, yes, there is a smooth flow of traffic up until you reach the Ginger Road roundabout. There you're going to be held up because the joining roads are feeding into the main road. Too much traffic. I see traffic coming on from Dowinton Road, and of course the area that has Chitugum House shows that there is traffic going on there. But around National Water and Sewerage Corporation, that is around Ginger Road and the areas of Victoria University, the traffic hold up loosens, and you can be able to move smoothly. And from there, as you continue to the business, to the heart of the business center, you will only find traffic around Cham Towers, the road that goes to Entebbe Road. There is some bit of a hold up there, and of course the area that has around Simba Telecom, you're going to find some bit of traffic that is along Kampala Road, and of course the feeder roads around Coach Tower and the Central Police Station. Yes, there is a hold up there, but the rest of town looks good, so you will be able to make it to your final destination in record time. That's it for the traffic updates. I'll take you back to Sonko for some of the updates in the newspapers from the East African region, and of course from Uganda, and later on the business news.
Thank you very much, Olive. It's Monday, and the business world is always open to getting the money going. And speaking of which, let's first of all revisit our dailies from the Ugandan perspective. We kick it off with the New Vision as the IGG warns over digital number plates. She says that she halted car plates deal, according to what the New Vision is highlighting this morning. Then furthermore, there are over 150 job offers for anyone who's out there looking for chances to break through into the private sector, and also the other non-government organizations. There are tenders within the New Vision today. Kiplagat does win Uganda's second gold. That is after he won the marathon yesterday. Full story of that is with the New Vision today. And then President Museveni celebrates 50th marriage anniversary. There's a pictorial of the president and the first lady, Mama Kataha Museveni, as how staff forged documents to grab university. There is a report of that today with the New Vision as well. And in the health perspective, the fear of undergoing endoscopy, more of that with the New Vision, as 1.56 billion Ugandan shillings raised for cancer fight. And you can get more of that report in the New Vision today. As court okays use of pseudonyms in divorce cases. Divorce becoming another big, you could actually say pseudonyms in divorce cases, becoming another big issue in the country. Away from the New Vision, we now turn our focus to the Daily Monitor today. As Mao got dirty cash for polls, according to what the Democratic Party bosses have revealed. President Museveni and Janet mark 50 years in marriage, as Joy as West Ruwenzori gets first bishop. There is more of that report with the Daily Monitor, and also a full detail of Kiplangat still on his win yesterday. The FDC saga, Amori at 6 meeting with Biringwa. As in the other news, kidney disease burden, prevention and treatment. And then AIDS cash hangs in the balance. There is a more detailed report of that one with the Daily Monitor today. Now elsewhere, let's cross over the borders to the East African region as our eyes now focus on the Daily Nation from Kenya. The Daily Nation reveals the cruel face of corruption as its huge headline today. The CS Kindiki vows to crack down on Nyayo House graft cartels. Then furthermore, Majestic Mora bags gold. That's another report by the Daily Nation today. Then we have options should talks fail, says Azimio, as they wait to have a dialogue with the President William Ruto. So the Daily Nation gives you more of that. Now, teachers paid to delay as talks stall. Still with the Daily Nation in Kenya. Teachers in Kenya want the government to work on their payment structures and, of course, also hike those particular salaries as well. Now, lastly, from dailies across the East African region, the Citizen newspaper. Samia Suluhu Hassan says why we must keep pace with global changes is the headline for the Citizen today. And then the national cover, NSSF eyes members in informal sector, that is in Tanzania. Then Tanzania narrates Nigeria abduction. There is a report of that. The East African Legislative Assembly defends budget despite Tanzania DRC opposition, as Mnangagwa hails mature democracy after a disputed win in there, if you come to think of it. Well, of course, you can grab yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor or New Vision from the Ugandan perspective, or if you are in Kenya, Tanzania, the Daily Nation and the Citizen is there for you. Now, focus is back to the GMU business update of the day. Now, speaking of the business update of the day, a new report has actually revealed that Uganda produces 4,000 metric tons of honey per annum. And when you look at, there was also a honey week that was organized under the theme of bee-friendly farming. This is actually to raise awareness of importance of beekeeping and how best we can monetize as a country. Because when you look at the report released by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, indicates that Uganda produces 4,000 metric tons of honey per annum, and approximately 1.2 million people are involved in beekeeping in the country. So when you look at the total annual honey production, around 128 to 4,000 metric tons, this is actually expected to increase to 5,000 by the end of this calendar year, or hopefully by the start of next year. But also, when you look at this particular one, this is a symbol of wealth creation, and also a symbol that at least everyone who's dealing in honey processing, or people who are dealing with in beekeeping, there's a very huge opportunity to at least gain some good money off of it. As the president does push for value addition, you get to realize for those who are in there processing honey, exporting it, can ideally generate lots of income for the country. That's a positive report as we kickstart off our Monday. Now, lastly, as we speak, forex rates in the country, we now look at how the different currencies were trading by close of business over the weekend. Now, the US dollar was buying at 3,692.96 shillings, while selling at 3,702.96 shillings. Then by midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,703, then selling at 3,713.0, and closing at 3,702.21 in that space. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,644.43 shillings, while selling at 4,670.58 shillings. Then the euros was buying at 3,983.52 shillings, while selling at 3,994.31 shillings. The Kenyan shillings, on the other hand, was buying at 25.55 shillings, while selling at 25.62 shillings. The Tanzanian shillings was buying at 1.47 shillings by closing time, while selling at 1.48 shillings. Then the South African rand was buying at 196.96 shillings, while selling at 196.49 shillings. So as you get into the business and do some forex trading, these are some of the figures you should as well keep in mind. This is Good Morning Uganda. And coming up is the Good Morning Uganda agenda with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, as big discussions coming ahead. Stick around with us. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
This week on UBC.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala, we have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Bigirwa Kalisa Samuel is my name, Chief Administrative Officer, Kalio District Local Government. Kalio District currently runs a budget of 39 billion, so we basically implement central government funded projects and initiatives. There are a number of success stories we have registered over the past period, especially in health under UGIFT, that's the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer Project, where we built a 650 million health center 3 at Buyinda sub-county. It is a state-of-the-art project which is not likely to be elsewhere in the country. The other project we have to reckon with is the Bukamba City Secondary School, which we are going to commission very soon, costing about 1.9 billion Uganda shillings. And then we have also other projects in production and marketing under the Marketing Production and Marketing Grant. And these include the 4-acre model farm initiative of the president. We have fisheries, fish farming. So government has basically invested a lot of infrastructure, a lot of funding in infrastructure development, and these projects are starting to bear fruits. We are moving as a local government, implementing government programs, basically the NRM government manifesto of His Excellency the President.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and much thanks for being with us on UBC TV. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitano. That is in case you've just joined. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now in this segment, we usually have a guest, either live in studios or we use any way of technology. But very important is you can also be part of the topic of discussion in this particular segment by simply using the number that will be coming up on your screen to send us your views, your opinions on the topic of discussion. Now this morning we are going to be discussing the ban on second-hand clothes importation. It was on Thursday last week while His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was commissioning and opening up 16 factories under Sinok, Uganda in Mbale Industrial Park, that he said second-hand clothes are stiffening our local textile industry. So come 1st September, they should not be allowed in the country. Now, what does this mean? According to a report from Oxfam, it indicates that 67% of Africans buy their clothes, or people in the East African community, buy their clothes in markets or other avenues, but what they buy, 67% of what they buy are actually second-hand clothes. Now, also a report from Oxfam indicates that 70% of clothes in Europe and America that are donated to charity find their way on these markets. 70% of clothes donated for charity in US and in the European Union find their way here, and we take these clothes. Either we buy them or they are given to Ugandans. I know that church does a great deal, and other organizations that get these bells and donate them to the needy, the poor, but they import them. Now, here we're having two issues. There are those that donate these clothes and they come to Africa. They come to Uganda. And many of you watching us, maybe you've ever worked for this charity, you're a member of this charity, but they're still coming as second-hand clothes. The taxation issue is not what I'm going to dive into. Now, joining me on set is a person from Kasita, Uganda, that is the Kampala City Traders Association, now Kasita, Uganda. And he happens to be the General Secretary of the Youth League of Kasita. And these are the people that also deal in these issues of second-hand clothes, most of the young Kasita members, because Kasita is an association that has those we call big business people. And then the others that are coming up but still traders. Every container that comes with bales of used clothes pays about 90 million Uganda shillings. Join me, welcome the young lad, that is Abdul Rakim Katongole. You're most welcome and thank you for finding time.
Thank you, Chirabo, for this fruitful discussion, and I'm really good to be here. To the viewers, good morning. I'm Katongole Abdul Hakim, the Secretary General, Kasita Youth League.
Now, Katongole, to begin with, when we talk about second-hand clothes or used clothes, or emivumba, commonly known as emivumba, we need to grow our industries, no doubt, as a country. True. But records and statistics show that most of the Ugandans are buying these clothes. And the president said, after looking at all these young girls that have gotten jobs in these factories, no one will stand in my way because it is a genuine cause. You as people dealing in this, what is your take?
Thank you, Chirabo, for that. First, I'll begin with being open to use second-hand clothes are really affordable and durable. That you look at someone who is employed on a salary scale of 300,000, being able to purchase a cloth every month on a monthly schedule. So this someone, I will look at a lady, she will go down to a window or any street vendor, she will purchase three tops at 10,000, which is not equivalent to the clothes they want to bring in. It is not. So this makes it a step of being affordable to the market. So I don't think that the industries are going to be able to produce the clothes we are speaking about at the same pace and at the same cost. So that cannot really work.
So first is affordability and availability of these clothes.
Exactly.
That even a low earner can be able to get something to put on.
Exactly.
But sometimes we may look at something as though because we've not prioritized the other, one would say these clothes are relatively cheap and available because we have not been having an alternative. As a trader in this business, now do you feel with the industries we have, because at least I know one industry that I've visited, which is around Bugorobi, I think they're called fine spinners. And I've found quality clothes there, quality shirts there. However, they told me that they had not done so much into domestic distribution. Most of these shirts were being packed for export. But do you think we've built capacity right now that there are many clothes being manufactured here? And also, we have many Ugandans that, not only the big industries, that you buy materials and they can make you anything you want. A good suit, so much.
When you look at the statistics back then, Chiravo, that in 2015, the East African heads of states focused on this agenda of phasing out the second-hand clothes, but it really didn't work. When they brought it in Uganda, it was brought by a vision of 2040. So, if we are focusing on the agenda 2040 to phase out the second-hand clothes, the first thing which had to be done was to prioritize industrialization in the member states of the East African community. But if this has failed, when you look at the materials produced, as you're saying that you've been to one industry, I don't think they suit our durable. I don't think we are so durable on them. And then, according to the materials produced, I don't think they are fit for everyone to use. So I think we still need to do a lot. Phasing out the second-hand clothes would have been an option. When you look at before I go there, the first thing what government needs to be done, we need to prioritize the industry part of saying that we have industries producing the clothes, and then as time goes on slowly, the second-hand clothes will face if we really feel that the quality and quantity produced by these industries fits our market.
But these second-hand clothes are stiffening or are failing these factories, because if there's an alternative, if I just want a shirt, for example, to put on, and there is a new shirt that is fairly expensive because of the cost of production and all that, and there's a second-hand shirt which is almost quarter of the price of what the other would cost me, don't you think definitely I'll go for a cheaper thing, yet in the end I'm killing what is our very own? We need industrial growth, and this is a hindrance for people in the textile.
When we speak about going for a cheaper thing, I don't think that works, because when these second-hand clothes we bring into the country, some of them are re-exported. Are re-exported from here. We export to Tanzania, Kenya, then DRC, and then South Sudan. So I think, as you're saying,
so we import and then we export.
Yes, this is what I'm speaking about.
But now what happens is nothing has been made here.
Nothing.
It is just they're more or less like goods in transit. The only thing is you paid for them, importation tax and all that, then again you export them.
This is what I started by telling you, that we are not sure if the companies or if the industries set are going to be sustainable to fit the market. So we first have to analyze this, and then we can look at phasing out, as you're saying, we can look at phasing out the second-hand clothes, but we cannot phase out them when we are not really sure that these industries are going to be sustainable in the market. We may be looking at the president launching industries, and we have seen these things. an industry is launched and then it will begin operating after 6 years. So if you're saying that with effect from 1st September, where are you leaving the traders who are doing the same business, who are doing this business? Because when you phase out something like the second-hand clothes, we are not even so certain about the number of people employed in this field, because this is a very, very big field, from the importer, from the offloaders, from the vendors, down to the shops where we find them. So you're going to cause in this unstable economy, I think we are going to be having challenges, and I was speaking to someone, I was telling them deliberately that the moment we phase out the second-hand clothes, that means no more Owino. Owino is out. So when you look at the percentage of people in Owino, basically it's the young boys. So where are you sending them now? You're sending them back to the villages, and you're going to increase the high crime rate. You're going to increase teenage pregnancies is good. The teenage pregnancy rate, it is high, but it is going to go higher than now. So
so now, Hakim, when you're talking about employment, I want to give you 2 examples in this country. We have the cat farmers. Amairunji. A law was passed in Parliament. Butambala side, thousands of families depend on cat. Thousands. That's what they grow. It is more or less their traditional cash crop. When you come to Kasenge, that is along Entebbe Road, and this is an area I know very well because I grew up around that area. Kasenge, thousands of families have educated, have built their houses on cat, Mairunji. Today, Parliament wakes up and says, because we need to fight use of these drugs and substances, we pass a law. Off from cat, let's go to power dealing in charcoal. You know, His Excellency passed a ban on charcoal. And I want to tell you, a number of charcoal dealers, particularly who are focusing in northern Uganda, we don't know how many jobs were lost in that arena. You know, but it was a step that we had to take for environmental protection and all that. Now, this time we are saying we need to ensure that we promote our local industries, our factories. An investor comes in the country and injects billions of money with the hope that what they are going to manufacture is going to be absorbed by the local market and also do some export. Now, what happens? People do not buy. Or if they buy, the purchasing rate of these clothes, we have Buy Uganda, Build Uganda concept, but you find that if a shirt is 50,000 and there's an alternative, still a shirt, and even sometimes looking better, by the way, we must say this second-hand, and the good thing with second-hand clothes, it is rare for you to buy something and find another person putting it on. Exactly. But you go to a wedding where you may think it's a school and you have uniform simply because you had same clothes and same company producing about 1,000 pieces or 1,000,000 pieces, and you're all looking funny in one way or the other. So, with those 2 examples, that for the good of our country, we've dealt away with cat, no matter how much we are employing. We are going away with charcoal, no matter how much we are employing. What makes you think that we should cling on to second-hand clothes and then kill our industries in textile?
Chirabo, we are not really advocating that to kill our own industries. What we are advocating for right now is for the president to give a pardon, to engage, to look at. Let us first track the progress of the industries which have been launched. So when we track their progress, then we can really say that yes, it is good to go. Of recent, we were fighting with some Chinese who were brought here as investors, and they had come to produce their own textiles here. But what we found out that it was they were importing and then coming selling to the market. Rather, they were not manufacturing from here. They were just putting brands. So how sure, and even these industries prioritized, we are not sure that if they are local industries for the local people here, still you will find out that these industries belong to the white people, the ones we are calling investors. So we shouldn't prioritize investors and leave our own people to run onto the streets. I think it starts from home. Patriotism starts from home. Let us first track its progress. When it works, we shall adjust. You know, I was sharing an experience with someone that back then we had these small borders, those mates. So
the Jaguars.
Yes. So we transited from them. We went to TVS. From TVS we went to Bajaj. So that norm came. You find out that norm came from the people who were doing the same business. That one who had the mate was very comfortable with that thing. But when they saw that now the norm is going to TVS, let me go to TVS. When the norm is going to Bajaj, so we shall upgrade slowly by slowly. It is the same thing what these phones we are doing, these phones we are using, and the computers we use. We have the first generation, the second generation, the third generation. So after analyzing that this generation has worked, you will find out that people are switching automatically. You find young girls changing phones. Every phone, they want to test everything. So a phone comes, so after testing it and they feel that it has really worked, they transit to the next, through upgrade to another version. So that's how I think the country has to move.
Okay, well, I think automatically if these clothes are there and they're of good quality and easily available and affordable, Ugandans will shift to definitely new clothes that are manufactured here in Uganda. But there's also a number of beliefs surrounding these second-hand clothes. One is a fact, yes, like I said, usually there are not so many. It is hard for you to find someone where you're putting on something exactly the same. But also there is a belief that they are more durable than the new clothes. With durability, I don't know. But many people will tell you, muvumba guno. Meaning those two things, durability and also the fact that you're not so many having the same thing on. Now, you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning, my lovely viewer, by simply using the number that is going to be popping up on your screen. We want to take your views, we want to hear your opinions regarding this ban. This is not the first time, actually, that this ban was issued. It has ever, this is the second time.
Yes, in 2015.
2015, yes. This is the second time. It didn't see the light of day because maybe by then we hadn't built enough capacity to have clothes manufactured here. Today, I may not have conclusive evidence, neither do I believe my guest, that we have enough capacity if we dealt away with second-hand clothes so that Ugandans can still afford dressing. At 10,000, a person who has a family of juniors can go and come back with something for them to cover their bodies. I highly doubt. And also there's something I've found. There's so much we have manufacturing here. But the cost of what is homemade becomes very high. I can go and buy material, go to a tailor to make me a suit. That suit may be a bit expensive.
Expensive, yes. But when you've even bought your own material.
When I've bought my material. But when I move around, I'm told, there are those that come and which suit you and you're good to go. So either it's the cost of production. When you look at most of the things manufactured here, I was one time having rice growers and they were telling, why is it that what is grown here is more expensive than what even sometimes we import? But I just need your views and opinions on this. And of course, my guest will be responding to some of your comments. Well, someone says, good morning, but you've not given me your name, and thank you so much for watching. He says, promoting local industries is the way to go. Everything has a beginning, people will adjust, but let's not become a dumping place of clothes for people. Okay. Now, he says, it's the time we go into the hot waters. We go to the deep end. We shall find ways not to sink or drown.
I think now the major audience of people we need to focus on, focus on the people in the middle income status, and then we need to focus on the people at the grassroots, trying to struggle with the finances. As you say that things manufactured from here are really expensive. I'll give an example. Look at the blankets, which are being manufactured. Is it in Ginger? Look at them. How sustainable or how durable are they? Look at the masks, which were distributed during the pandemic. How many people still keep those masks? But look at the masks we bought. We bought these social masks we bought from those trending people. Eh? We had these masks, and I still have one of them. But those which were distributed by the government, I have none. But they were manufactured here. So we are not a dumping place, and the clothes, the textiles brought in, they are really checked. They are cleared before they are brought into the country. Yes.
Well, I have a vote of thanks to President Museveni for the decision. Okay, someone is in tandem with His Excellency and says that was a wise move for that. Please send in your messages, and very importantly, give me your name. Give us your name and where you're watching from. We'll be very grateful. The number will be popping up on your screen, and please use that very number to send, or you can use, of course, also my page, and I'll be reading that out for you. Just simply send me a text message or a WhatsApp message, and I'll be able to have my guest responding to that. Now, still looking at the messages that are coming in, one says we should look at employment. How many people can our industries employ, and how many people are being employed by the people dealing in second-hand clothes throughout the value chain of second-hand clothes? I was told there is a body that brings together dealers in old, they call them in used clothes and shoes, and their chairperson, the lady, said this industry employs about 4 million people.
Exactly. This industry.
Let's look at this chain. Where do the 4 million people come?
This chain is big. If you're saying that you're phasing out, that means you're going to also phase out the people seated in those offices from the URA, because they are the ones clearing these goods coming in. So if they are clearing out the second-hand clothes, that means they will take a break. They will take a break from them. They will say, no, we no longer need these numbers. You look at the importers. So the importers, you cannot adjust and find something to do in just 1 minute or in just 2 days. So you really need to understand the business you're going to go as for the optional business. So you look at the offloaders. You're going to look at the people down in the markets. You're going to look at the people in the shops. Then you're also going to look at the landlords. Because if you're phasing out the second-hand clothes, that means some people are going to close off the shops. So you also look at the landlords. So, and all in all, this one is going to affect the economy of the country. Not only the people not only the people who are dealing in it, but also the economy generally of the country. And even the employment side, these industries cannot afford to employ all the people who have been doing in the second-hand clothes, however much, and they cannot even assign them to be their agents down, because these industries, the ones we are advocating for, they are going to produce and at the same time come and open up shops here and then begin retailing. So where are you leaving the local person here? Yeah, so I think that is a gone bad deal.
Okay, well, these industries at the same time also are going to have shops, outlets, but also you know that business people are good at adjusting. Maybe they can become dealers and get these as long as that. But what is very important is the factor of employment is something that is very much on many people's minds. Where are the people that have been in this sector, that have been washing these clothes, ironing these clothes, that have been loading and offloading these clothes, that have been clearing these clothes through URI? Of course, those may get other opportunities because they are staff of URI and can do anything. Those have been transporting, where are they going to go to? That is the question. Are we going to have enough area where they can be absorbed. Like I just told you that we've seen tremendous steps taken in areas where many people are being employed. And I told you one of the area is cat growers. It has been a massive silent industry employing so many people. When you go to the charcoal business, when the ban was here in northern Uganda, almost every you find someone who is selling charcoal, and it has an impact on this. But we are saying no. For reason X and reason G, we are saying we are halting that. Now, for the good thing here is that we have industries that also are employing people. And one will also tell you, for any industry, look at the person who is cleaning, look at the drivers, look at the casual laborers that this industry equally does employ. But let's go back to some of the messages.
But still the numbers in the industries won't add up to the numbers downtown. Yeah.
This one says, good morning, Chirabo. Thanks for the show. I am Higo Regan. I partially agree on to the President's directive because this would boost the revenue collection in the country and also create job opportunities to Ugandans. But however, this will partially affect some Ugandans since second-hand, well, it's quite a long one, opportunities for Uganda. However, this will partially affect some Ugandans since second-hand clothes have been too cheap to an extent that of acquiring a cloth at 2,000, and to a greater extent, these factories shall expensively sell their clothes. Therefore, truth be told, people are likely not to survive since some people earn less income, which can't foster them to buy first-hand products. Okay, he agrees with you, saying this may be hard on people whose earning is very low.
So, yeah, we are not looking at the people whose earning is very low. I gave you an example of someone employed at a salary scale of 300. So if he goes and purchases a blouse of 25,000 and it is not going to even last for 2 months, it is going to be worn out. So that means every after 2 months I need to purchase for the same thing. Yeah.
Good morning. This is Onyango Alfred watching from Achetibi, Tororo. That is the greatest mistake, that if we move in that direction, is making how many Ugandans can afford first-hand clothes. Okay, he's also talking about the cost. Then, good morning, I'm Caesar from Gulu. My opinion is if the president wants to stop second-hand clothes, it has to be done in phases, not abrupt, which may cause us issues. Okay, one agrees that we must phase this out, but we must do this in phases. I don't know how that can be done.
This is what I was telling you, that we shall transit to the next generation slowly by slowly at a pace. If we find out that the industries are producing, their materials are sustainability and they are affordable at the market, then that means we shall be good to go. I had someone speak about the revenue which will raise when industries come here. I'll give an example that no industry can pay the revenue, the URA cannot collect the revenue from industries the way it has been collecting from the people importing these old second-hand clothes. Because you started by saying every container imported into the country, URA collects about 90 million. Last year, just recently, last year, URA was saying that we need to collect 104 million. Then we engaged, we protested, then they said, okay, let us go back to the 90. So they also have hopes of...
And how many containers do you think come in a day?
When you look at the containers coming in, coming per day, it is really hard to trace.
Yes.
But however, we just need to look at the annual fleet. How much money does URA collect from these second-hand clothes? Because we don't normally have these containers coming in every day, because they are first ordered at the port, then after clearing, then they proceed to come. So you'll find that someone moves this container at a different pace. Yes, but I'm not so sure about the sum URA is collecting, but it's collecting some good money, and it is the second-hand textiles. It is one of the most generating revenue to the country.
Okay, one says let's stop relying on West and develop our economy by sacrificing whatever we have. Big ups to President Museveni. Justin Omara from Lila City. Good morning. Rome was not built in one day. Let's engage stakeholders before bringing up and implementing such policies. I'm Muduku from Jinja. And I just want to end with just one more here, hopefully. Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel Smart Magara from Masinde. This is a good blender by President. It's too early for a country like Uganda to make such decision. Countless youth in business shall be left jobless. Hence, crime rate will spike. Now, there are mixed opinions. We have those that are saying it is time and now. We have those that are saying, no, we must not look at this sector because of so many people who are being employed into this sector. Let's just address a few of these and then I'll be letting you go. But a quick one. Good morning, Chirabo. This is Mafabi Payath Jethro. I agree with the president to ban these clothes because we need to promote our local industries in much as it has negative effects. But this will end as time goes on.
You'll be surprised, Chirabo, when I respond to that. You'll be surprised that some of the people advocating for this ban of second-hand clothes, and there are some of you may go to their home when they really have the second-hand clothes, but they're advocating for it to go away right now. So, as it was said that buy Uganda, build Uganda, we shall not just go and buy whatever we are looking, whatever is brought on market. You look at very many things which have been imposed and taxes raised just to cut off the importation. You look at the diapers, you look at the blankets. So when you come back to the industries here, they are not producing things which fit the market. So let us just go into a transition that we shall accept and say, yes, it is time. The time has come. Then we shall just change automatically. You don't need to tell people that stop. They will stop automatically. The way the small phones phased out, it is the same way we shall phase out the old clothes. If the industries are producing what we really desire.
Okay, let me just have your parting shot as we move out of here. First, the people in this business community that are dealing in this, and also to the Ugandans.
To the business community, especially to the people we lead, this is really a trying moment to you and to us, that the president is trying to advocate our source of income. So what's next if this is out? This is normally asked by the university students, that what's next after campus? So what's next after banning the second-hand clothes? Because now you'll find out that even the people employed in these big offices have down a stall, a boutique, where they are selling. Yes.
And boutiques are so many.
Yes, boutiques are coming up every day. So they are coming up every day just because people find it profitable and sustainable. So we need to review. The president needs to review and needs to engage the stakeholders and everyone dealing in this business. We are available for any consultations, and even the people down, we are ready to mobilize people to come and give their opinions. I don't think it's the right time for the government to face second-hand clothes. However, we shall change when time comes.
Well, thank you, Abdulhakim Katongole, for your time, and of course our viewers, thank you so much for those messages that up to now you're still bringing. Well, there's an issue of creating unemployment in case this ban takes effect, and there's an issue of stifling our local industries. So we have a snake in a pot. Do we break the pot to kill the snake because we have to cook? I leave that to you. See you in the next hour. Ruben is up next with sports. Good morning.
Pick of the day on UBC.
was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.